morning, Nigeria. How are you doing this beautiful Wednesday morning? And how is the weather at your own end? The weather is so cold this morning, but I bring you good news because I have a lot of fantastic things that we need to talk about on today's newspaper review. First, we're going to start with the New Telegraph. On the New Telegraph newspaper, we're looking at 2027 general election. Fireworks as campaign begins. You'll get the full story on page 2, 4, 6, 10, 11, and 27 of the newspaper. Then at the top of the newspaper, we're saying Dangote Refinery secures $1 billion backing ahead of IPO. Still in the same newspaper at the bottom, we're saying insecurity where 23 people were killed, many others injured in fresh plateau attack. We're also looking at 2027 election where Tinubu, Obi, Atiku, others sign peace accord, vow issue-based campaigns. Then on the foreign scene, according to a report, they said 57 Trump official worth at least $100 million each. Still in the same newspaper, this is on entertainment coming from Davido, the Afro superstar Davido. He said Davido celebrates Adeleke's victory, unveils plan for Osun youth. That's coming from Davido. He's celebrating his uncle's victory, and he has also unveiled plans for the youth in Osun State. Coming up next is the leadership newspaper. On the leadership newspaper, we're seeing as presidential campaign begin today. So the presidential campaign has finally kicked off today, where Tinubu, Obi, Duke, Sowore, others sign peace accord. Then at the top of the newspaper, we're focusing on Abuja flood. All houses built on water channels will go down, vows Wike. Wike said that all houses that are built on water channel will definitely go down as a result of the Abuja flooding. Then by the right side of the newspaper, FCCPC summons cement firms as price hits 15,000 naira. The FCCPC has summoned cement company because the price is becoming something else. Still in the same newspaper, insecurity won't stop free, fair election in 2027. Jari said that insecurity will not stop free and fair election come 2027. Up next is the Daily Independent. On the Daily Independent newspaper, on 2027 election, Tinubu warns against ethnic religious politics. That's coming from the Federal Republic President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He has warned against ethnic and religious politics. That's from our president. Then FCCPC establishes possible manipulation of cement prices. Wike orders demolition of houses blocking water channel in Abuja. That's from the FCT minister. Then this is from the ADC. They said rising food prices shows Tinubu government has run out of ideas. That's coming from the ADC, that Tinubu government has run out of ideas as a result of the rising food prices. Then on Osun Pool, Adeleke debunks claims of any alliance with ADC. That's coming from the governor of Osun State. He has debunked claims of having any alliance with the African Democratic Congress. Then federal government vows to protect 2027 polls from cyber attacks, fake news. By the right side of the newspaper, this is a sad news in Plateau State where 23 people were being attacked in Plateau community. 23 were dead and several others were being injured. Still in the same newspaper, NAS overwhelmed by 14,000 workforce, 3,500 bills in 3 years. That's coming from the CNA report. Away from that newspaper to the Guardian newspaper. On the Guardian newspaper, candidates party doubts peace accord as election campaign begins. So the presidential election campaign has begun today, and parties doubt peace accord as election begins today. Tinubu unveils Ogun food banks as ADC berates federal government over living costs. Still in the same newspaper, Obi seeks end to killings as fresh attacks claim over 58 lives in Sokoto, Benue, and Plateau State. This is very sad. 2027, INEC projects over 100 million registered voters to deploy 1.4 million AHOD staff. Still in the same newspaper, Ezekwesili budget tax federal government on 746 million pounds. UK ports deal review fiscal transparency. Federal government, state, local government shared 3 trillion naira as July revenue rises by 658.87 billion naira. NEL fund sets 48-day deadline for student loan payments. South Africa rejects xenophobic tax as more Nigerians return home. Away from that newspaper to the Daily Sun. On the Daily Sun newspaper, Jonathan falls APC governors' involvement in Osun pool. Still in the same newspaper, on 2027, Tinubu signs peace accord, warns politicians against unguarded utterances, ethnic religious slurs. 24 killed in fresh Plateau attack gets mass burial. This is very sad. Mofang seeks calm. PDP demands security emergency. ADC condemns killings. Women protest in Plateau State, where over 24 people who were killed, they had their mass burial today. 2027, Southeast youths vow to end impunity with PVC. The full story is on page 29 of the newspaper. Dangote refinery gets $600 million investment, commits $400 million to IPO. This is coming from the Federal Capital Territory Minister, Nyesom Wike. He said, if Tinubu wanted APC to win, he would have drafted me to Osun. That's coming from Wike. That if actually the president wanted APC to win, he would have sent him to Osun State. I wonder what that statement actually means for the FCT minister. Coming up next is the Punch newspaper. On the Punch newspaper, we're focusing on the presidential election, where Tinubu Obi others sign peace pact as campaign begins today. Finally, the awaited presidential election has finally begun today. 36 states budget jump 47% to 40 trillion naira. Capital spending falls. Federal government, states, councils share record 3 trillion naira in July. Salary crisis. Nigerian Labour Congress warns of fresh health sector strike. Off-cycle pools. Jonathan decries governor show of force. Still in the same newspaper at the bottom, NDLEA nabs alleged cocaine baron fleeing to Paris. The full story is on page 4 of the newspaper. No alliance. Adeleke denies ADC role in re-election. Adeleke has denied the role of the ADC in his re-election. He said there was no alliance, or he doesn't have any alliance with the African Democratic Congress Party. Next on our newspaper review today is the Daily Monitor. On the Daily Monitor newspaper, Tinubu pledges peaceful campaign, says elections not a do-or-die affair. That's coming from the president ahead of the 2027 election poll. Still in the newspaper, ordinary Nigerians need to see measurable improvements in their life, coming from Kuka against 2027. He said that ordinary Nigerians, they need to see improvements in their lives come 2027. NLC demands immediate action on health workers, pay to avert strike. That's coming from the NLC. Jonathan seeks urgent intervention in high-profile interference in off-cycle election. That's coming from the former President of Nigeria, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Away from that newspaper to our last newspaper on today, the Matrix newspaper. On the Matrix newspaper, the campaigns commence. 2027 campaigns has kicked off today, and the follow-up story says Tinubu, Obi, Sowore, Duke, others sign peace accord. Then INEC has no candidates. That's coming from Amupitan. He assures parties of neutrality. Amupitan is assuring parties of neutrality that INEC has no candidate. We'll see the outcome of that in 2027. Tinubu to opposition: don't weaponize ethnicity and religion. Nigerians should punish candidates who violate peace accord. That is coming from the president. At the top of the newspaper, FCCPC: Nigerians pay more for cement despite surplus, uncovers possible price manipulation. Ezekwesili to Tinubu: terminate Doggy, 746 million euros port deal now. That's coming from the former Minister of Education, Ezekwesili. He has asked Tinubu to terminate Doggy £746 million port deal now. This is coming from Wandeko. He tackles Davido over unreleased Come My Way verse. That's on entertainment from Wandeko. Adeleke: no electoral deal with ADC before, during, or after Osun poll. That's coming from Adeleke. He's defending himself that there was no electoral deal, there was no alliance with the ADC before or during or after the election. Still in the same newspaper, FAAC: revenue to federal government, state, local government areas surges to 3 trillion naira in July, highest under Tinubu. You get the full story on page 2 of the newspaper. Of cycle polls: Jonathan laments political invasion, demands new rules. We've come to the end of the newspaper review. Many thanks for watching. I am Kasitoni. Do stay tuned as we bring you more updates.